the offensive coordinator of the SU men's lacrosse team. Pat March joining us now. Pat, great to have you on. How are you today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's we'll kind of put the Cornell game to bed, and then we'll move on. But let's start with last Saturday. You know, so many people looking forward to it. Top five showdown between two of the best teams in the country. What was the difference in that game, the way you saw it, and as a team, what do you guys take away from that contest?
Yeah, I think at least from an offensive perspective, I don't think we shot the ball as well as we probably would have liked. I thought we had a decent amount of opportunities and actually outshot them in the game. So getting that shooting percentage a little bit higher, I thought that was something that they excelled at. They shot the ball extremely well. So I thought that was kind of the big difference in the game, to be honest.
A lot of people are talking about Joey Spallina. I mean, he gets a lot of attention whether, you win or you lose, or he has a lot of points or doesn't have a lot of points. He was coming off a game in which he played awesome against Notre Dame, 4 goals, 1 assist, against one of the best, defenders in the country. And then against Cornell, only took 4 shots. And, a lot of people were wondering, was that by design? Was it something that Cornell did? Was it a game planning type situation? I guess, can you speak to Joey's performance on Saturday and what Cornell did to, they were able to limit him, obviously?
Yeah, I don't think that they slid off of him particularly. And, I think the difference between the Notre Dame game and the Cornell game and defensive strategy is Notre Dame was more willing to slide off of him with Sean Light, or at least have Sean Light kind of get into the sliding process and maybe lose him a little bit off ball. Cornell didn't really slide to us a ton at the beginning of the game. I actually thought we had some good opportunities to score some unassisted goals, and we just didn't kind of cash in on those. But no matter what, it's always 6 guys out on the field, not one. It's team offense. We have a lot of different weapons we're able to use, and whether it's initiate with this guy and have this guy finish on the backside, and I think that's part of what makes us dangerous is we're able to use guys in different roles.
Just one more on Joey Spallina. You look at what he's been able to accomplish, in his 3 years, but certainly this season. I mean, he's 6th in the country in points right now. He's got 27 goals, 34 assists. You've worked with a lot of great players over the years. What makes Joey Spallina so special?
Yeah, I think the thing with Joey is he's just a lacrosse rat, and he's kind of a chameleon and can do a ton of different things, whether it's play the off-ball position or pick the ball up off the end line and dodge a little bit. He's incredible in the 2-man game. He spent some time in Canada, so he's improved his game on the wing. He's a pretty good player with both hands, left and right. So he's just a very, very dangerous player, and one that you always have to account for when you're game planning for us.
As you said, there's 6 guys out there. It's not just him, and you've gotten a lot of contributions from a lot of guys this year. And as an offense, you're 5th in the country right now in scoring, averaging just about 15 goals per game. How would you kind of assess to this point in the season, Coach, how the offense has performed? Kind of evaluate that side of the field if you could.
Yeah, pretty good. I think a stat that we look at is offensive efficiency, which is the amount of times we score per possession or possessions in a game. And we score at almost 40% a clip. So 40% of the time we have the ball, we're gonna put the ball in the back of the net, which is exceptional. Actually, I think it ranks 3rd in the country in that. So the good thing about us is we're able to use a lot of different guys, and we share the ball. Like I said before, 6 guys out there on offense. We probably run at least 9 deep, if not 10 or 11 deep. And we have a lot of different guys they're set on sharing the ball and doing what it takes to put the ball in the back of the cage, not necessarily personally what they need to do to be out there, but what the unit needs to do. So we've had contributions from everybody, whether it's the first midfield line and Michael Leo, Sammy English, and Luke Roa. The attack's been great. We've had different guys in there. I think offensively we've had some injuries this year, so we've rotated the lineup a little bit, and guys have kind of just stepped up, and it's been the next man. A guy like Tyler Cortez has been great on the second line since he's kind of stepped up and been there, and it's been great. So a ton of different guys doing different things. It's been awesome this year.
How about the spark that Peyton Anderson has provided you guys of late?
Yeah, Peyton's another guy. He's an extremely athletic, dodging threat. He's something different than we've had at attack, the way we started it. I think Finn Thompson's a little bit more of a different player. And then you got Peyton Anderson coming in at attack. Finn and Trey Deere are probably similar, but Peyton is a guy that can come in and he can win his individual matchup, dodge hard to the cage, and has good vision too. So he's been great as he's matured through his freshman year.
I asked you about Joey Spallina, who leads you guys in assists and points. Your leading goal scorer this year is Owen Hiltz, and you look at his career, and he's had to deal with some injuries and in and out of the lineup. Can you speak to, I guess, his growth and maturity as a player, and how he's kind of grown and evolved during his time here at Syracuse to where he is now, which is he's obviously been a very reliable scorer for you guys.
Yeah, Owen's always been an extremely smart lacrosse player. He was when he was at Culver Military Academy. He was when he was a freshman here for us. I think the big step you've seen for him is he's now been able to kind of impart that knowledge onto his teammates. I think him spending a summer playing Senior A with the Peterborough Lakers in Canada and being able to be in a locker room with a lot of other professional lacrosse players and kind of take that feedback from them, he's able to say, hey, look, I can help my team out. It's like they maybe helped me out in the locker room. So he's been a great as a leader on the offensive end of the ball. He's been awesome helping other guys to see different things. And then obviously as an individual player, he's shot the ball extremely well this year and as always really has. He's definitely one of the smartest players that I've ever coached when it comes to lacrosse IQ, and I've coached some pretty smart ones. So Owen's he's a great player, good kid.
High praise there, certainly coming from you. And let's look ahead now, Coach. And it's a road game this weekend at Duke, a team that is 0-2 in conference play, but they've got 4 losses on the season, all to really good teams. They're going to be playing desperate. You know that they're going to be hungry, needing a win at home to kind of keep their postseason hopes alive and whatnot. Speak to the challenge, if you could, of going on the road, taking on a hungry team like that, and obviously a talented team in the Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah, Duke's a school and a team that gets top level talent recruits. They kind of just bring in one top ranked recruiting class after another. So they're extremely talented, extremely athletic. And anytime you travel in the ACC, it's going to be a tough time, a tough place to play. A lot of the schools, obviously they're going to have support out there, and it's different from being in the Dome. So we look forward to it this weekend. But yeah, Duke's they're extremely talented at both ends of the ball and should provide a good test for us.
I don't need to tell you this, but going into the season, there were, really high expectations, right? Preseason number 2, and everybody's talking about Final Four or bust. And, coming off of those 2 straight losses when you lost to the second one there to Harvard after losing to Maryland, we heard that there was kind of like a captain's meeting, and the players talked about just removing the pressure and taking it one day at a time and one practice at a time and not thinking big picture. How is the team doing with that as the NCAA tournament now approaches? Do you feel like, psychologically the team is in a good spot right now as the month of May approaches?
Yeah, I think so. I know we've definitely adopted the next play. This game is the only thing that matters. Mindset, control what you can control. And I think we're really focused on Duke this weekend. And there's so many variables when it comes to NCAA tournament and ACC tournament. And I think the biggest thing for us is we control our destiny. If we take care of business and do what we need to do, we'll be where we want to be. So the focus right now is on Duke and controlling what we can.
All right. Great way to look at it. Great mindset. 2 o'clock face-off coming up on Saturday down in Durham, North Carolina. Coach, we always love talking lacrosse with you. Thanks so much for coming out. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys.
All right. Good to see you as well. Pat March joining us on the program. And with that, we'll hit a timeout. Phone line's back open.